Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is Global Reality Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Yes, it's late night. Yes, it is getting moonbatty. And yes, it's 1:26 a.m. Central Standard Time here. And it's Tuesday going now into Wednesday. So glad you could be with me here. The few of you who are out there, we had some issues with the network today. Several, actually. One, we had... the monitor, which I haven't had very long, but which I found out was going to cost $100 to get fixed, even with the warranty. I've only had this thing, I don't know, 7 or 8 months. And so the network monitor died. It'd been being kind of wonky for the past week. I don't know, it like wouldn't come on after I turned it off. It was being weird. And then today it just finally crapped out and died. And so I wasn't able to I've got everything. It used to be I ran everything off one computer and that was all well and fine and whatever have you. But now everything is shifted and all the network stuff are running off of another computer. So it was I didn't have the ability to be able to switch it all back over because the resources in the other computer are already being used for filmmaking and all this other stuff. So I was able to get another monitor and at Walmart actually. I don't know. They normally ever go to Walmart. Honestly, I hate that fucking place. But unfortunately, there was nowhere else. I didn't have us out of options, so I went there. And luckily, it was a good thing I did. I actually was able to get one. They had it was strange. I don't know what's going on with monitors right now. I don't know whether maybe I went to several stores and every store I went to had all their monitor section cleaned out. Like they had all the monitors were on clearance, and I was going, this is strange. They must be getting ready to do something new, like go to all 100% touchscreen across the board. Windows 7 has been compatible for that, and some computers do come with that as an option already. They must be getting ready to go to that standard on all monitors. So that's an interesting tidbit of info right there. But nonetheless, we are here tonight with you, and we're going to be getting into a lot of news and information here for you on the show tonight. We've got quite a bit of news today. We'll also be continuing tonight in our reading from William Bramley's The Gods of Eden. We'll have William Bramley on the show with us. Coming up next Monday, the 18th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You want to tune in for that show. It's going to be huge, I promise you. It's probably just as huge as the reading of this book has been since we've done it. So tonight we'll be on Chapter 20, A New Aristocracy. And so it should be a good read. So we'll get into that as well. We'd love to hear from you as well. globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. If you have questions, comments, news items, anything else, anything you'd like to hear me talk about on air, or if you have a question you'd like to read on air, I'll happy to do that. And I like that. I really, it's been one of the one of my favorite new additions to the show lately has been everybody sending emails every day that I can read on air and then get into different stuff. I really like that. So I want to encourage more of that. And I'll be happy to answer any questions for you here tonight on the show. globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. Send those in tonight and be happy to do that for you. chat room open for you as well. Got a few chatters in there in the late night listening audience. So thanks to everybody in the chat room there tonight. Yeah, fucking cheap electrolytic capacitors. Thanks, China. Yeah, it's the, it's I don't know what it is. That's a second LCD monitor I've had go out on me since I've been doing radio. I had a Samsung I bought in 2007 right before I went on air and started the show. And about a year later, I started getting these big black splotches all over it. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just a sign of the times, I guess. They don't make anything of any quality anymore. That's for damn sure. But anyway, brew some coffee. Big shout out to everybody out there listening across. There are actually some people tuning in tonight. I'm shocked by that. We actually do have some listeners. I think everybody probably, I figured most people gave up or came in the chat room and saw that there wasn't anything going on there. Probably figured we were going to have a show. But oh well, the few of you listening will get to have the added bonus treat of being able to say you heard this show live, and everybody else we'll be listening to it on a repeat broadcast or on an archive or something of that nature. So thanks to everybody who is out there. I'm sitting here looking. It's very interesting to see that we still have listeners in, the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Switzerland, Netherlands, Greece, Poland, and one that just says other. So if you're listening to us tonight in other, not one of those countries I named, then hello, other. Thank you for listening. It just gives me the ability to look at the stats, and see who's tuning. Yeah, I just thought that was funny. So we have somebody's listening in other. Other. The other would be okay. Is that Adele? I know Adele. Hey, Adele. Adele's tuning in from Vietnam. Adele's one of my friends. She's rad. That's cool. Well, you know what? Thank you, Adele, for at least allowing me to say that I have listeners in Vietnam now. Thank you. It's the one place I've, never been able to say I had listeners from. We've had China. We've had, McMurdo Weather Station in Antarctica. I'm not kidding. I got a message from somebody there one time. McMurdo Weather Station in Antarctica. Isn't that where they sent John Larroquette at the end of Stripes for fucking up? Oh, man, I bet that's a desolate, lonely place right there. Anyway, we're gonna jump into the news for you here tonight. We've got something to get through, and then we're going to jump back into reading William Bramley's The Gods of Eden for you here. I got to get into this one straight away because this just seems to be the recurring theme of things that we have seen, and the rise of the digital age. I remember last year we covered the story of the school in Houston where they had put a coffee shop inside of the library in the school, and after the coffee shop was such a success, the principal made the decision to have all of the books and all of the library dismantled and all the books taken out and turned the entire fucking library into a coffee shop, and which I'm sure he's making mass profits of, and I'm sure that's, probably something not legal about that. But anyway, and then assigned, the little Kindle readers and the digital readers to everyone. And, everybody's been talking about, is this the Bradbury moment, Is this it? Well, we've seen little bits of those, more and more of those coming. Brave New World among top 10 books Americans most want banned. I have trouble believing this. I don't know. I'd like to see some hard data. I'd like to see some video. I'd like to see, you know what I mean? I really like to see some hard evidence of some motherfuckers out in the streets, or, like you see those videos of people burning their Beatle albums and stuff when John Lennon said the Beatles were more popular than Jesus Christ at that moment, and took it all out of context and everything else. And stuff. I mean, I just get that in vision, but I don't see that. I don't know. I don't see there being. I'm not saying there isn't. God knows I'm not saying there isn't. My goodness. Look at this world we exist in right now. But I don't know. I just like to see some hard, tangible evidence of that. The idea of somebody going, oh, my goodness, that terrible, that Aldous Huxley. I mean, yeah, I could see the elite not wanting that. I could see the people in charge, people in government not wanting that book there. But your average person, I don't know. It's just very bizarre. But let's read this because It really is quite an odd explanation. It's not, I guarantee it's probably not even the explanation you would imagine as to why they say the book Brave New World should be banned. Banned in Ireland when it first appeared in 1932 and removed from shelves and objected to ever since, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World is still making waves today. The novel of a dystopian future was one of the most complained about books in America last year. Last year? One of the most complained about books in America last year. Why? Because it's just now, 80 years later. It's just now becoming relevant, more relevant than probably it ever has, because the technology has now caught up to what was being described by Huxley in this book. I mean, really? I mean, of all the things out there, I mean, look what is on the goddamn television, people. Look at this mindless pap and this bullshit they're programming with us there. You really tell me there are people in the world who are complaining about? I mean, it just seems bizarre to me. We can't have that Brave New World stuff, but what we can have more of, we need more Snooki. Yep, that's what we need. Forget this Huxley, forget this dystopian future stuff. No. We need more Snooki. Somebody needs to get Snooki a show. Throw these Huxley books in the fire pit and get me a 10-year-old Filipino boy by noon. I demand it. There you go. I mean, is that what some elite guy is that they're saying right now? The American Library Association has just released the list of the 10 books which Americans tried hardest to ban last year. Top yet again by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell's And Tango Makes Three. Is it just retarded? Really? This pap is what people consider to be dangerous? Huh? I mean, the libraries are littered with dangerous information. I mean, dangerous information is stuff like, what we talk about here, and things that can really break people out of their conditioning shell. I mean, this stuff just doesn't even make any sense. But let me get down here to this reason. It says the ALA's top most frequently challenged books of 2010. Drum roll, please. Number 10, Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, Religious Viewpoint and Violence. All right, number 9, Revolutionary Voices, a multicultural queer youth anthology, edited by Amy Sunny. Now, I don't know, multicultural queer youth anthology. It's, I guess I could maybe, I don't know, that sounds kind of weird. I mean, queer youth? I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about under 20? Are we talking about under 18? Are we talking elementary school kids? But what are we talking about here? Number 8, Nickel and Dimed on Not Getting By in America by Barbara Einreich. Drugs, inaccurate, offensive language, political viewpoint, religious viewpoint. Everything you get pummeled with on a daily basis. And by the way, isn't that book about like just a regular person trying to make it by or something of that nature? It just seems bizarre. The reason, drugs, inaccurate. I mean, my God, that's every movie and every TV show and R&B and rap lyrics. My goodness, this is just stupid. Number 7, What My Mother Doesn't Know by Sonia Sones. Reason, sexism, sexually explicit, unsuited to the age group. Yeah. Number 6, Lush by Natasha Friend. Drugs, offensive language, sexually explicit, unsuited to age group. I mean, look, we have porno on the shelves, right? You can go get any manner of whatever it is you might be into in book form or magazine form for porno, right? But what do? You have to be of a certain age to get it. Generally, it's kept, behind the counters or whatever have you. I don't understand why it is that you automatically say this book needs to be burned or this book needs to be banned because of this viewpoint. Generally, how it works is if you don't like a viewpoint or you don't agree with that, then, you dismiss it, move on, and go appease yourself with something that fits your bullshit, religious, probably, pre-programmed moral structure, phony moral structure. Go find yourself something that fits that. That's generally what people do. They read something, oh, I don't like this. This is against my morals. Or, oh, I don't like this. This is violent. This is homo. This is drug fueled. And they move on to something else. There's just the strict blanket across the board banning of and burning. It doesn't say burning, but they say banning. I mean, that to me is the equivalent of burning. Isn't it banning something? But by doing it, you only make people want it more. So I think that may be the underlying thing here. Is that by banning something, that by making something taboo, you make it to where it's, oh, well, that's considered, dangerous. That's contraband. Oh, my goodness, you can't have your hands on that. That's banned material. Remember when you were 16, and don't lie, every one of you motherfuckers out there that's around my age did this. Me too. I'll raise my hand up. But remember when you were like 16 and you had to be 18 to get the anarchist cookbook and you swindled your mom or your grandma into buying it for you? Remember that? And you were going through it, looking all the, how to make crystal meth and how to make LSD and how to make napalm. And you were like, oh, dude, this is going to be killer. We can get fucked up, dude, for free. And we're going to blow some shit up, dude. It's going to be awesome. But it wasn't even a lot of that stuff in there. It was just the fact that you felt like they told you couldn't have it. They told you it was banned. So what did that basically make you do? It made you want it more, right? Same thing here. So, when you really look at the reasons, let's continue on here with the list. Number 4, Crank by Alan Hopkins, drugs, offensive language, sexually explicit, blah, 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 blah. Of course, number 3 on this list is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Insensitivity. Now, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Insensitivity. I mean, I don't know anything more insensitive than the United States of America. I mean, since when did we get all sensitive about things? We blow the fuck out of brown people daily for fun, for no good reason. We just do it. And we want to sit over here and talk about Brave New World being insensitive? Just impossible for me to wrap my mind around. So please indulge me as I attempt to. What else is the other reason why? Okay, offensive language. Oh my God, offensive language, really? Again, we've gone over this. They pump in offensive language in everything. Racism. Oh my goodness, racism. And sexually explicit material. Well, again, I think this is reverse psychology. I think that they're really trying to gauge a reaction out of people. They're trying to see how many people complain and how many people don't. I think that they do this very often. They sort of put out a story like this. They gauge the public opinion. And they make a decision on whether to go forward with something like this based on the public outcry. The sad thing is now, Brave New World, even though it came out in 1932, has always been a book that a lot of people haven't read or skipped over or didn't hear about or anything, even now, which is mind-blowing to me because, I can remember being, I don't know, I think it was like 16, 17, 18 years old when we first started getting, Texas was the first state to get them, and we first started getting the red light cameras, the ones that would take a picture of your license plate. So we got those first. Thank you very much. We had I'm going to get T-shirts that made that. Texas, we had the police state before anybody else. Fuck you. Really? That's no shit. That's why people talk about the police state. And down here, we're just like, police state? What the fuck were you talking about? It's always been like this. But it hasn't always been like this, but it's been like that for the better part of 15, 16 years now. And so it just feels like it's always been like that now because that's how short-term people's memories are. But I can remember when these things first started popping up. I remember telling people, "Hey, this is Brave New World, man. This is 1984. This is it. We're here now." Oh my God, young, dumb, and full of cum I was. Fuck, I was, I thought we were here then. I didn't know shit, and I thought we were here. I thought it was boom, it's over. So you can imagine since then, as I've grown up and learned all this stuff, man. Yeah, we are here now, though. I'll tell you that. So it's just mind blowing to me. I don't know. I can't tell you how many people are going to care about this. I can't tell you how many people are going to be, concerned with it or anything else. I don't know, but it does indeed feel like they are testing the waters, like they're trying to see, just how far they can push it before they get people to rise up. And, I've been saying for years that, even before I was on air, that I really had seen 2011 as being the big year they would try to push civil unrest and civil war and the rest of this. And very interesting that this year is the 150th anniversary of that. And with the way that I know these people like numbers and the operations we continue to see them roll out, it makes you wonder if that might be around the corner. But they are just pushing everything and pushing it further and further and further and trying to get people more and more pissed off and more angry. And they're just really trying to goad us into rising up so they can come in and squash us and use that as the pretext. Well, they were rising up. We had to squash them. And I think this is going to be a big one. It certainly would be a big one for me if they started trying to do this to me, or started doing this where I live. I would certainly be doing anything I can to fight this. I'm always been a big concert goer. I always like to go see my favorite bands when they come to town. That list has dwindled down through the years. It used to be much larger. Now it's down to, I don't know, 7 or 8 bands, maybe not even that anymore. I don't really know. But there's a handful of bands that every time they come to Dallas, I go see them. They're my favorite bands. I've always gone to see them, so that's what I do. But listen to this. San Francisco considers requiring ID scans for most public events. The San Francisco Entertainment Commission was scheduled Tuesday to consider a proposal that would mandate ID scans for every person entering a place of entertainment attended by more than 100 people, a move that immediately sparked the fears of civil libertarians who saw it as yet another encroachment of a creeping police state culture. The commission said that it would take up the proposal at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday evening at their typical meeting place in San Francisco City Hall. The proposal before members would also mandate that cameras be placed in event halls where they can be clearly seen by attendees. This system would also need to be freely accessible to local, state, and federal law enforcement on demand. Again, I think this is all a part of the Caesar computer system algorithm. I think it's a part of this massive AI supercomputer system wanting more control, wanting more power, wanting more of a view, more information, more data to crunch. That's what fuels this thing, and it's there. It exists, The rules make no mention of safeguards to protect the privacy of event patrons. They would instead require that scanned IDs and video footage from the venue shall be kept for no less than 15 days, meaning they would be able to keep the information forever. It would also mandate that all event attendees pass through a metal detector. The Electronic Frontiers Foundation, a San Francisco-based privacy nonprofit, warned that the rules would ultimately change the city's culture and infringe on American civil liberties. Scanning the IDs of all attendees at an anti-war rally, a gay nightclub, or a fundraiser for civil liberties organization would have a deeply chilling effect on speech. Participants might hesitate to attend such events if their attendance were noted, stored, and made available on request to government authorities. Yeah, I say so. This is gonna go over bad if they try this, because there are a lot of bands and a lot of musicians and a lot of people out there who are awake and aware of this stuff. And if they try this, bands are just going to flat refuse to quit playing certain places, certain towns, certain venues. And they're going to start losing a fuck ton of money. I mean, you look at something in Austin like the Austin City Limits Music Festival. I mean, I've gone to it twice. Third time I went, I didn't get to go because that godforsaken bookstore down there in Austin, Brave New Kooks. God, that place sucks. That place is horrible. They have, okay, number one, they have no Eustace Mullins, or at least when I was there, they had no Eustace Mullins. I mean, oh my God, you got a rack full of that John Burt Society cocksucker that stole all of his work, Griffin. But anyway, when I went down there in 2007 and they were for my premiere for 9/11 New World Rising, this was do all this kind of promotion for it. They didn't do any promotion for it. And so we didn't get to sell any DVDs, so we didn't get to go to the concert. And yeah, I was pretty pissed about that, you know. And but those Austin people are just clowns anyway. But that place just sucks. I mean, they have no good books in there. You don't talk about Brave New World. Walk into Brave New Books. That place, you can't find anything you want in there. It's horrible. They carry the mainline, mainstream, Jones-approved truther books, and that's it. Really. I mean, it's horrible. I'm going to open something myself in Dallas eventually. That's my long-term goal. I'm going to open something like that in Dallas eventually and put them motherfuckers out of business. Let's just say it like that. So I think this is really going to blow up in their face. It's just not going to stay. But anyway, you look at something like in Austin when they have the Austin City Limits Music Festival, they shut down the city for a whole weekend there. And the town makes, they rake in $10-12 million a weekend for this thing. Give me a break. These towns, especially, they can't even make their budgets now. The governments are coming in and taking over state and local townships and everything else. I mean, they're just forfeiting everything over to the banks, and then the banks are forfeiting it all to the people who've taken out their loans and the people that buy the treasury bonds and everything else. They're dismantling everything right around our eyes, but we should still go on business as usual, don't we? We sure do. Got to have that coffee, got to go to the gas station, got to go to McDonald's. I mean, it's just business as usual. And I predict people will still be going about business as usual, even as the shit is going down. No, really, I really do. I really think that the shit can be going down. It'll be Armageddon. It'll be the apocalypse. It'll be fighting in the streets, and there'll still be some Yahoo with a fucking Bluetooth headset on, screaming about the foam on his latte in the drive-thru. I mean, just people won't. People are not going to stop doing what they do until it's all over. It's just a fact. Man, oh man, oh man. Let's see what else we have here tonight. This is an interesting article. I should have maybe covered this earlier while we were on the literature subject, but to get into this one now, I just don't see this. I'm just so confused about this, and maybe that my take on this person's work has been fucked up. I mean, I'm kind of being nice. I don't think it is, because I went back and reviewed her work to see what my thoughts are. And, I just don't get this. The rampant rise of Ayn Rand-omania. Basically, this is from NPR, and they're saying that there's this rise in an interest in Ayn Rand's work, or Ayn Rand. I'm sorry, let me say it correctly, not Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand. There's an interest in her work. The folks at the Ayn Rand Institute in Irvine, California, certainly believe that there are similarities between the rise of the Tea Party and Rand's philosophy of pro-capitalism and rational self-interest expressed through Atlas Shrugged and its protagonist, John Galt. So they're saying that the rise of this new interest in Ayn Rand's work is coming as a result of people who are teabaggers and into the whole right-wing thing. And I got to tell you, I got into her work, coincidentally enough, in a similar way as that a lot of people did. It's kind of actually fucking very hilarious. If you've ever seen the documentary the newest documentary they came out with on the band Rush. It was made by the guy who made Metal, a Headbanger's Journey. If you haven't seen the new Rush documentary, Beyond the Lighted Stage, check that out. But it's either Sebastian Bach from Skid Row's talking about how, you know, what 12-year-old goes out and says, you know, oh, this rock band's got me fired up about literature. I got to go read Ayn Rand, you know. But that's actually how I got into her work, was because on the back of the 2112 album by Rush, they'd had a special thanks to Ayn Rand. So I was like, okay, I got to check that out. It's what you do when you're younger. At least that's what I did when I was, you know, a teenager or whatever. I would listen to music and I'd find out what they were into. You know, to try, I'd be like, you know, I'd go back and try to, what was in their record collection? You know, what influenced them to make the music they did, you know, or what influenced them to write that. So I went and I got Atlas Shrugged, you know, and read it. But I got to tell you, I always got I didn't ever get this idea that her words and her writing and stuff was about, you know, freedom or rising up against the totalitarian government or anything, in the way that Neil Peart writes the lyrics in the album 2112. I never got that from her work either. What I always got from her work, why I never really got into it, I mean, I read her stuff, but her stuff was always littered with totalitarian governments always win. You know, it's always the rise of fascism. Fascism always wins. There's no way out of it. You can't speak truth to power. You can't rise against it. It's a foregone conclusion. You just have to accept it. So, I mean, if that's what they're saying, if that's what they were to say, you know, is why the Tea Party baggers are into this stuff, then I might say, okay, yeah, but that's not what they're saying here. They're actually putting forth the idea that Ayn Rand's books are somehow, you know, it says here, they certainly believe there are similarities between the rise of the Tea Party and Rand's philosophy of pro-capitalism and rational self-interest. Yeah, I mean, that's what it was about. You know, it was about the totalitarian government always ruling over the people and always being in charge and always being right. And, you know, I just didn't like that. I strayed away from that. And I didn't feel that that's what, and I've heard some people say, well, yeah, that's what, you know, at the end of the 2112 album, when you hear, you know, attention, all planets of the Solar Federation, attention, all planets of the Solar Federation, we have assumed control. We have assumed control. And somebody told me, oh, yeah, the hero in the song kills himself because he doesn't feel that he can go on. And then the Galactic, you know, Federation comes in and takes over. And that was him saying that, you know, yeah, totalitarianism always rules and you can't get by. And I never got that from that album. I heard somebody saying that one time. I was like, really? What? No. I mean, it's about, you know, 100 years into 2112, 100 years after 2012, music is outlawed. And this guy leads a revolution against the government through music and this huge computer system. That's what it's about. So it does seem that people have tried to twist things into fit or tell people that that's what they mean when they actually mean something else. So why it seems that some people's impression of Ayn Rand's work has been the rising up against, you know, evil and the rising up against tyranny. And, you know, a lot of people, including myself, always thought that was what was being echoed by Rush in the 2112 record. But now they're saying that actually her books and her work is more about pro-capitalism and rational self-interest and stuff, and this is why the Tea Party is. So it seems that they're twisting this now to fit what they wanted to fit. It says that the Washington-based Freedom Works, a Tea Party organization founded by former House Majority Leader Dick Armey, is imploring its followers to demand that the movie for Atlas Shrugged be shown in more and more theaters, and it offers its networking page to form Atlas Shrugged viewing parties. So they're all behind this. And I'll tell you, I don't know if anybody else but me thinks this is odd, but have you guys, it comes out this Friday, by the way. They're releasing it on tax day. Isn't that interesting? Anybody else but me think that this movie poster for the Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, anybody else but me think that's a bit odd? Look at that. Double click that picture I put in the chat room. Look at that. Is that thing, that's the Obama logo, isn't it? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the little stick figure thing there is holding the Obama campaign logo. Anybody else but me think that's a little weird? And Penis Navy over here, I mean, Dick Army is pushing the, this to be shown. And notice his shadow is a $sign. Yeah, nothing symbolic there. Move along. I mean, this is just, this is blatant. And notice that they do this shit after Ayn Rand is dead, I guess, and can't defend her work. That's what they do, isn't it? They just, they wait till after, well, it's the same thing they did with Christ. He didn't want a religion or anything that started in his name, but people wait till after he was dead and they did whatever they want, That's what people do. Sons of bitches they are. Anyway, that's just, it's crazy. Oh, we getting such a late start here tonight. I'm hesitant to take a break till I get through all this news. I want to burn through all of it, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll get into Bramley's Gods of Eden for you here tonight. Thanks for staying up late with us. I appreciate that, man. I'm sorry I got such a late start tonight, but with the issues we were having earlier with the network and the monitor and all that, so I just, was just like, well, I haven't come this far and been trying all day to get this fixed to just not do a show now. You know what I mean? No matter how late it is. So thanks a lot to you guys staying up. We talked about several times here over the past several months, the sort of disinformation or misinformation, really. You've got one end of the scientific community saying that the Yellowstone volcanic system is not a threat, and we shouldn't worry about it, which automatically makes me go, we need to zero in on that. Also, the little bit of predictive programming that they put in the Roland Emmerich piece of shit. God damn, that was a piece of shit. Piece of shit. I mean, that was a piece. Oh, I could still smell the flaming log on that one. Woo! Some air freshen up in here. But, that was where the whole thing, when, the end of the world started to happen, and it popped off in Yellowstone. But then we have another area of the scientific community that says, no, it is a threat. We need to be worried about this. So again, with that cognitive dissonance, great. So you get people just, well, I don't know what to believe. You got these scientists over here saying it ain't no problem. The other ones over here saying, I don't know who to believe. I just don't care no more. It just breeds that apathy. That's what the cognitive dissonance does. It breeds apathy. Oh, I don't know if Alex Jones is a spook or a Jesuit or whatever. And, yeah, I think he maybe is. Oh, I just don't care anymore. I'm not going to worry about it. That apathy trap, man, it's just waiting for you around every corner. I mean, it's waiting with bated breath to grab you and draw you into it. You got to always be aware of that apathy trap, man. Don't let it get you. Don't let it take you down to those depths it wants, because that's exactly what they want. So just say, fuck it, I don't care anyway. Who cares? Bad. That's bad. Always keep that in your head, man. If you keep that in your head and you don't allow yourself to actively engage in that, it's very hard to, but try to lessen it as much as you can. You really will start to notice a change in everything around you. It is really, really interesting. The Yellowstone National Park hosts a variety of hot springs and geysers, all powered by a plume of molten rock under its surface. At times in the past, that plume has powered activity that was quite a bit less scenic. Massive eruptions that have been capable of covering roughly half of North America with ash. Thus, understanding the structure and evolution of this hotspot has an immense practical value. Now, thanks to an array of sensors funded by the National Science Foundation. Oh, yeah, the NSF's pure black ops. Oh, man. Wow. Well, it's really the first indicator that I've had, ladies and gentlemen, that, this is real. Wow. tell you this, NSF is always a red flag for me. You see the National Science Foundation involved in, I mean, they've been involved. My God, these were the guys that ran, at least my research has pointed in that direction. These are the guys that, as far as we know, with a lot of the evidence pointing in the direction, was the organization that created the computer models and the simulations for the events that happened on September 11, 2001. Now, how do we know that, or why are they a likely suspect for being the ones? Well, tell you this, they were the ones that, after years and years and years of petitioning, I guess this finally came out, I think 2007 it was, right prior before I went on the air. A friend of mine here in Dallas, I used to be in a 9/11 group with, James Gorley. You guys might have heard of him. James Gorley's a lawyer. Great guy too. Great fella. Really big supporter of my work. He was the guy that, well, he repped the Loose Change guys whenever the Day brothers came after him for using their footage, and he petitioned NIST on behalf of 9/11 victims' family members, and actually caused them to have to cough up that info where they said, essentially, I don't remember exactly what the word was, but something to the effect of, some unknown event that we don't know and couldn't predict and don't know what caused World Trade Center Building 7 to fall. But they're the ones that came out with the simulations that supposedly were these computer simulations showing how the fire caused the towers to fall. And the way that you look at it and the accuracy of it, you're going, oh man, these were the exact models they used to see if they could pull this thing off or not. So anytime you see the NSF, the National Science Foundation, involved in anything, go look them up. Go Google National Science Foundation. Go Google National Science Foundation, Black Ops, or Black Budget, National Science Foundation. You will find it's insane what these guys are connected to. They are connected at the highest levels. It's a front group on how they pour black op money into scientific research that fits the agenda. So I got to tell you that's very, very, I don't know, it's very worrisome if you ask me. I mean, the fact that the NSF is putting money into funding these sensors to monitor Yellowstone, that tells me that they consider this to be a threat. And it does go a long way, I think, towards the idea that, all this stuff they've been saying about, well, it's not a threat. It's not really anything we have to worry about. I mean, again, folks, anytime they tell you not to worry about something, you need to worry. When they tell you, oh, no, don't worry. Oh, no. Yeah, you need to worry. When they tell you, oh, my God, be worried, fear, then you just go, fuck it. Then it's okay to say fuck it, right? Let's see what else we have here. I'm going to put a link to that in the chat room for you guys. Yeah, I just. Oh, this is interesting. We had William Henry on last Thursday, and he had mentioned this new special force that had been created to protect the Egyptian antiquities. And he was talking about how, Ami Zahi Hawass had talked about, I need the antiquities and the antiquities need me. Well, coincidentally now, and I think Mr. Henry mentioned this when he was on the show, that they've created this new force. And of course, they put Zahi Hawass at the head of it. And lo and behold, right as soon as this new, antiquity force is established, just as Mr. Henry was talking about on the show, then all of a sudden here, what comes out now today? Egypt's Minister of Antiquities says a special police force will be set up to protect archaeological sites and museums around the country following a wave of vandalism and looting. Zahi Hawass told reporters Tuesday that authorities have been unable to protect antiquities because police personnel guarding the ancient sites were not armed. He also announced the retrieval of 4 artifacts of the 37 looted from the Egyptian Museum during the weeks of protest that eventually ousted President Hosni Mubarak. The artifacts belong to the world-famous King Tutankhamun collection. Well, that's exactly what William Henry was talking about on the show last week. Here's this new position. All of a sudden, as soon as he gets this newly created position, what happens? Well, here comes some, right on cue, right at that same time. Oh, you put me back in charge. You gave me a position again. So in exchange for that, I'm going to return some of the artifacts. I mean, this guy's not fooling anybody. I hadn't trusted this crook for the longest time. I mean, my goodness. He was here last year. I think it was last year, maybe the year before. It was 2009, I think it was. Yeah, it was 2009. But he was here in Dallas, and Delphi's parents actually went to it, and George Bush and Laura Bush were there, of course. This guy is working for the elite. He's working to make sure that nobody ever finds the real truth of this stuff. Fukushima radiation taints U.S. milk supplies at levels 300% higher than the EPA maximums. Well, that's just super duper news. Good thing I don't drink that piss. I'm just not into mucus sacks. It's just not my thing. Natural news here. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency continues to release new data showing that various milk and water supply samples from across the U.S. are testing increasingly high for radioactive elements such as iodine-131, cesium-134, and cesium-137, all of which are being emitted from the ongoing Fukushima nuclear fallout. As of April 10, 2011, 23 U.S. water supplies have been tested positive for radioactive iodine-131, and worst of all, milk samples from at least 3 U.S. locations have tested positive. You know what? I got news for you, Bubba. They found 6 water wells in the city of Houston last year that were radioactive. Fully radioactive. And nobody batted an eye about it. Yeah, it was in the Chronicle, but did anybody at large? Folks, they've been finding radioactivity in cows and cow's milk forever. There are hormones and plastic and all kinds of crazy shit in women's breast milk right now. It just blows me away that now they're trying to use this as the cover story for something that was already going on and was already in the food and water supply long before this Japanese disaster happened. But see, now from now on, now these guys can pollute whatever they want. They can put radioactivity in everything. They can pump us full of radioactive shit at the airport through the body scanners, and now they have a perfect scapegoat. Well, it's that damn Japanese reactor. That's what it was. Yeah, that's why you got the cancer and died. My goodness, it's not from our safe body scanners that don't unzip your DNA. I don't give a crap what MIT says. MIT. What do they know? Bunch of chumps. Who do they got over there? Chomsky. Chomsky, my cock. Yeah. Yeah, it's just MIT. Yeah, MIT just came out, they just happened to come out with a full peer-reviewed report at the end of 2009 saying that these body scanners unzip your DNA. But, what do they know, right? Oh, it's out of fucking control. Well, we're going to take a break, come back, and we'll come back from the break. We're going to be getting into reading for you here tonight. Chapter 20 of William Bramley's The Gods of Eden, A New Aristocracy. This should be a very, very interesting chapter. And back here with you on the Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thank you for staying up late with us tonight for this Moonbat edition of the broadcast. Yeah, we're going to continue on here tonight from Chapter 20, A New Aristocracy, beginning that chapter for you here tonight from William Bramley's The Gods of Eden. Don't forget, coming up next Monday, this coming Monday, the 18th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will have author William Bramley on the show with us. I'm uber excited about that. It's just great. I've talked about this before, but through the years, I've only get on select guests. I don't have guests on all the time. And I just feel really just honored and lucky. The opportunity I've had to interview so many great researchers and people who whose work I've admired and who who now who consider me their peers and stuff. It's such an amazing thing, to have on, William Henry and blow his mind a little bit with some info that he didn't know about, that kind of thing. Or, 4 or 5 times having Michael Tsarian on the program and the great shows we've done together and stuff. And we'll do again in the future. But it just never gets old for me. It never loses its thing. It's still, to me, it's still a big deal having on these, these big guests. I mean, guys that normally do shows on, they're on Coast to Coast AM, with millions of listeners, but they'll still come on, my little show, my little network. And I think that's been a testament to, I think that's solely a testament to the work that we've done and stuff. I don't think these people would be coming on if, we weren't putting out good info and stuff. And that's, that's really all that matters. That's the main thing that matters. Don't ever let anybody try to convince you otherwise. And there are a lot of ass clowns and haters and people out there who can't do good work on their own. And so they just go after people like myself who have exposed, you got to understand any and all manner of things are going to be directed towards me because I was the first guy that brought out in any significant way. I was the first guy to be inside of Patriot Radio Networks exposing the Council for National Policy. Now, that's a fact. I mean, I was on RBN, doing a show on RBN, dude, calling out people on their network. You know what I mean? And now with the Secret Right Volume 2 be getting closer and closer to being done. By the way, we're still close to being able to get that. We set a tentative release date for 5/5/11, May 5th. Secret Right Volume 2, May 5th. We still need to raise about $600 to get the rest of the way, and then we'll have everything we need to get this out, and it'll keep us on. If we get that amount in soon, that'll keep us on pace to get the film out by the 5th. So if you want to use the donate button, if you can get part of that, or if 6 people donated $100, we'd be there. I mean, that's not a big deal, right? But use the donate button if you want to help us out there and help us keep on course to get the film out by then. That'd be great. The Chipping banner is there for the bills and everything for the month as well. All right, chapter 20 tonight, A New Aristocracy. This is William Bramley's The Gods of Eden here. Let's get into it. I'm ready. Revolution is as old as history itself. People have been rebelling against gods, kings, and parents for millennia. So we hardly look at it as anything out of the ordinary. Luther's revolt was not a true revolution in the sense of blood being spilled. Luther and the Pope led no armies against one another. The Reformation did, however, lay the groundwork and provide the inspiration for numerous wars and violent political revolutions that were to sweep the globe for centuries to follow. One of the earliest political struggles to grow out of the Reformation was the 80 Years' War, which got fully underway by 1569. The 80 Years' War pitted Spain against that region of Europe we now know today as the Netherlands, which was then under Spanish rule, a new Protestant sect known as Calvinism, the origins of which will be discussed in chapter 22, had emerged by that time, and radical Calvinists from France had migrated to the Netherlands and created an activist Protestant community in Holland. This naturally caused friction between the devout Catholic rulers of Spain and the emerging Protestant minority of Holland. The Dutch minority not only sought religious freedom, but they soon craved political independence as well. The result was nearly a century of warfare. Many of the early Dutch struggles against Spain were led by William I the Silent, a German ruler who reigned over the German Principality of Nassau, not Nassau, the Bahamas, by the way, which bordered on Hesse in Germany over the French region of Orange. Hence, William's dynasty was simply known as the House of Nassau-Orange, or more simply, the House of Orange. Yeah, the House of Orange was bloodline to the tits, man. I mean, it's full-blown Merovingian right there. William led the fight in Holland partly because he had inherited large tracts of land there. The eventual success of the Dutch rebellions brought about the birth of a fully independent Netherlands. With independence came the establishment of a political and economic system that was to provide a model for revolutions in other countries. the Netherlands adopted a parliamentary form of government accompanied by a reduction of the monarch's power. Although the House of Orange became the Dutch royal family and remains so to this very day, the monarch's role in the new government was reduced to that of stadtholder, or chief magistrate. The stadtholder could not hold office unless approved by the National Assembly, although there is often a mere formality. One intended effect of the parliamentary system was to prevent any single individual from achieving too much power. We might puzzle over why the German royal family of Nassau-Orange helped establish a political system in which their own power was reduced. It can be argued that they did so to encourage popular support for the revolt against Spain. After all, the House of Orange did gain a permanent position in the government. This does not fully solve the riddle because, as we shall see, other German royal families led coups and revolutions in which nearly identical political systems were erected. And few of those dynasties were acting entirely from noble impulses. A clue to resolving the puzzle is found in the fact that those German dynasties were deeply involved in brotherhood organizations. As we shall see in upcoming chapters, the evidence indicates that the families were promoting a brotherhood agenda from which the royals handsomely profited in other ways. That's because they were of the bloodlines of the custodial creators. In light of the role of the Brotherhood Network in promoting revolution and reducing monarchies, it might appear at first glance that the Brotherhood was back to its true uncorrupted purpose of opposing custodial institutions. After all, the institution of monarchy is traceable back to the custodial gods of ancient Sumeria. According to Mesopotamian tablets, the custodial society was ruled in a unique fashion. At the top was a council, or system of councils. Beneath the top councils were planetary subdivisions such as Earth. Each subdivision was ruled by individual custodians on a hereditary basis, but subject to the laws of the council. Now, that is key. That is key because, ladies and gentlemen, that right there, that piece of info right there is the proof that this system of bloodline and lineage and everything that is so important to the elite and the fact that they're horse breeders and people breeders and everything else, it proves right there what I have been saying on the show for 4 years is that the bloodlines of the people that are in power and the royals and the people that are in power, I mean, even people that are, movie stars and rock stars and stuff are in these bloodlines. This originally was set up by these extraterrestrials. It's absolute proof because, again, that evidence that the government was and the power structure was set up that way comes from the Sumerian tablets. Again, according to Mesopotamian tablets, the custodial society was ruled in a unique fashion. At the top was a council or system of councils. Beneath the top council were planetary subdivisions such as Earth. Each subdivision was ruled by individual custodians on a hereditary basis, but subject to the laws of the council. According to ancient Sumerians, local hereditary custodial rulers were Earth's first kings. Those rulers naturally implanted their monarchical system on human society. We see intriguing evidence of this in those ancient Mesopotamian drawings that depict custodial gods bearing two objects which are now universal symbols of monarchy, the scepter and the tiara. The Sumerians state that the first human kings on earth were the offspring of the custodial rulers who mated with human women. Those matings entitled the half-human offspring to become early monarchs on earth. Thus was born the idea of royal blood and the perceived importance of maintaining proper royal breeding to ensure continued purity of the human royal bloodline. Interestingly, some ancient custodial gods were depicted as either blue-skinned or blue-blooded. This gave us the idea, and some say reality, of royal blue bloods. Aristocratic breeding practices have persisted through history and remain important to some royalty even today. No, it's important to everything in the whole power structure. Let me ask you something. You ever seen a Bush? You ever seen a Bush or a Clinton or any of these politicians? You ever seen them with a brown baby? You ever seen anybody in their family with a brown baby? You ever seen them No, you don't, because they don't do that, because they keep their bloodlines pure. This is how they do it. So I'm sorry. Again, he wrote this book, in the early 90s. I'm sure Bramley has come a long way since then. Yeah, there's a lot more evidence now that, yeah, certainly this is way more important than, he's just saying, oh, it's important to some today. No, the whole system is based around these bloodlines. The whole system, the perceived illusion of them versus us, and they're in control and we aren't, is based on the fact that they believe because they are of pure stock, that gives them the divine right to rule. And the divine right to rule has been around since people have been around. I mean, it's just always been there. In the light of the above, it would have been in keeping with the aims of the original uncorrupted brotherhood to eliminate monarchy and replace it with a parliamentary form of government in which human beings could choose their leaders. Had the brotherhood reformed itself by the time of William the Silent? Unfortunately, no. As we have seen before, the custodial influence caused valid aims and teachings of the brotherhood to acquire fatal twists. Precisely such a twist distorted the otherwise altruistic social and political goals of the brotherhood revolutionaries. The newly weakened monarchies and parliamentary governments allowed for greater power to be assumed by a new institution being installed by the revolutionaries. A new banking system and monetary system. This new monetary system was a major element of the revolutions of the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. Yet this fact is only minimally discussed in the majority of history books. Well, yeah, who do you think prints those damn history books? Those who ran and still run the new monetary system have been aptly labeled by one author, Howard Katz, as the paper aristocracy. The revolutions which began to sweep the world after the Reformation heralded the diminishment of the powerful political aristocracies in favor of the less visible, but in many ways equally potent monetary aristocracies. This happened because during the Reformation, banking and money lending, which were once viewed as lowly occupations, funny how that works, isn't it? Banking and money lending were for once considered lowly occupations. Yeah, not anymore. By the way, did you guys hear, I'm sorry to interrupt before we're reading this. Did you guys hear what Matt Taibbi from Rolling Stone said about Wall Street? He said, you put Lloyd Blankfein in a pound me in the ass prison for a 6-month term, and all this bullshit would stop all over. It would be all stop all over Wall Street. That's all it would take, just once. Maybe not. I mean, these guys would probably enjoy being, 6 months in there getting slammed by Bubba. You know these guys. You know what they're into. This happened because during the Reformation, banking and money lending were once viewed as lowly occupations and were being forged into a renewed power due to a clever new science of money. This new money was a type of paper currency that could have its value deliberately and systematically diminished through a process known as inflation. And as a type of money still in use today, this new money and the institutions which arose from it have had an enormous impact on our modern civilization. We cannot fully appreciate the effects of Protestantism and the revolutions which arose out of it without comprehending just how the new money system works. So that's the end of chapter 20 there. And the next chapter is chapter 21, Funny Money. Let me see how long this is. Yeah, this is a pretty long chapter. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's more than I want to get into tonight, honestly. But I guess I could read part of it and pick up the rest of it tomorrow. It just depends on what you guys are into. Oh, hell, fuck it. We got time. Let's go into a little bit more of this. All right, chapter 21, Funny Money. Let me get a drink here real quick. All right. I think before we get started here, I want to say I I talked about this the other night. I mean, isn't it mind blowing? If you haven't heard our entire reading, I know a lot of it is on YouTube. I think the first 12 chapters are up there. But isn't it funny that, because, for years and years, you always heard in the Patriot movement, Truth movement stuff, you always heard people like Alex Jones say, oh, don't talk about the extraterrestrials or the Anunnaki. Don't talk about, the Sumerian stuff. And it's funny that all of that stuff ties directly into the priest class and ties directly into the people and the controllers and the Council for National Policy and the Jesuit order and how they control the John Birch Society, and Alex Jones coming from a John Birch Society family there and his multiple connections with the Jesuits all the way across the board. And yet, always say, oh, yeah, just look into the bankers, look into the bankers. Well, the bankers and the whole banking system was created by these custodial extraterrestrial bastards. And it blows my mind now to figure out that this is the explanation as to why for years this guy's been telling you not to look into this stuff. I mean, it's completely irrelevatory to me. It's such a big revelation. I mean, I've known this, but really reading this book, I've understood more than anything else why there has been such a moratorium put on this information. Because when people uncover this and they uncover the source of everything, it's going to be over for the hucksters and, these snake oil salesmen in the Truth and Patriot movement. I mean, it's just over for them. Few topics occupy as many minds or stimulate as many emotions as money. Well, what's the answer to 99 out of 100 questions, folks? Money. This is largely because money is an overwhelming problem to a majority of people. One thing which causes modern money to be a problem is inflation. Whether inflation is climbing at 3% annually or 300% inflation, of course, is the situation in which the cost of goods and services steadily rise due to the ever-decreasing value of money. This happens when the money supply becomes larger in proportion to the supply of valuable goods and services. Money itself is not valuable, only the goods and services that can be bought with it are. The wealth of any individual or nation, therefore, is ultimately determined by what it produces in terms of valuable products and services, not by how much money it prints, distributes, or holds. A nation could actually survive without any currency at all, as long as it was otherwise productive. Oh, shit, don't tell people that. Oh, my God. You mean we could get along and be productive without having money? Oh, my God. Let's not talk about that. Folks, don't look into that. Don't look into that extraterrestrial stuff, folks, okay? They're going to tell you that we can have a society without money. They're going to tell you all this stuff. They're just anti-capitalist commies, That's the only people looking at that stuff, anti-capitalist commies. That's all it is. By the way, Ted's going to come on and tell you about this Jew gold he's got for you today. It's good stuff. Money changers will be proud. Money is therefore an extension of the barter system. It's supposed to be. Barter is the act of trading something one possesses or does for something of someone else's. Production and barter are the basis of all economy. Coins and paper money were originally created to assist in barter. They allowed people to barter without having to carry around actual goods or immediately deliver a service. This permitted individuals to trade more easily and to save the profits of their labors for the future. Paper money initially began as promissory notes. A promissory note was written as a promise to pay a debt, and a person would write a note on a piece of paper promising the bearer of the note a certain quantity of goods or services that the note writer could provide on demand. To illustrate, let us look at the following fictitious example. Let us pretend that a chicken farmer was in the village market and wanted to trade for a basket of apples. He did not have his chickens with him, so he might write a note to the apple seller entitling the bearer of the note to come to the farm at any time to pick up 2 healthy chickens. The chicken farmer would be able to walk away with his basket of apples, and it would be up to the apple grower to visit the farm one day and redeem the note by getting his 2 chickens. As long as people have faith in the chicken farmer's ability to honor his notes, he will be able to use them for barter. Let us now pretend that as the day draws to a close, the apple grower decides to have a look around the market. He comes across the cloth merchant. The apple grower's wife has been henpecking him for days to buy some of the new silk that just arrived on a caravan from the Far East. The apple grower's home life has been made miserable by her unceasing demands and her denial of wifely comforts. Yeah, she won't fuck him. Which is where every problem starts, right there. I mean, how far are we going back here? Cloth merchants and fucking all this shit. I mean, this has been going on forever. She won't fuck him unless she buys him something nice. He buys something nice instead of taking care of business, and everything goes to shit. I mean, you think we'd learn at some point. So he negotiates with the cloth merchant for some silk. The cloth merchant, however, does not need any more apples. So the apple grower, remembering that he has a note for 2 chickens, asks the merchant if the merchant needs poultry. The merchant says that he does, and the apple grower gives him the note for 2 chickens in exchange for silk. It is now up to the cloth merchant to trudge on up to the chicken farm to redeem the note. The chickens themselves have never left the coop, yet they have changed ownership twice in one day. This type of exchange was all that paper money was initially created for. But do you see the temptation that it can open up? If the chicken farmer knows that some time will pass before he must redeem his notes with actual chickens, or that some of his notes will circulate forever and never come in for redemption, he may be tempted to issue more notes than he has in actual chickens, thinking that he will be able to cover all the notes by the time they come back to him. Temptation now gets the best of the chicken farmer. The chicken farmer has a big family get-together coming up, and he wants to impress his in-laws for once by putting on an opulent feast. Down to the market he goes, where he writes notes for chickens not yet hatched and stocks up with an abundance of goods from other merchants. Several things can now happen. The chicken farmer will get away with it if he's always able to meet the demand for chickens when his notes come in for redemption. Another thing that may and often will occur is that he has so saturated the marketplace with his chicken notes that most people just do not want them anymore. So he must offer even more hens for each trade to make people feel that it is worth their while. He is now writing notes for 2 or 3 chickens in exchange for items which he previously had only to issue single chicken notes. That's what we need, chicken notes. Hey, boy, I'm going to give you this chicken note right here. Here you go. A vicious spiral ensues. The more notes the chicken farmer issues, the less valuable they become, and this is more that he has to issue in order to get what he wants. This is known as inflation. Now comes the worst part. With more and more notes outstanding, an increasing number of notes will start coming in for redemption. Soon the farmer will see that his true wealth, which is his supply of chickens, is becoming rapidly depleted, even though only a small portion of his outstanding notes have come back. To preserve his chickens, he must decrease the value of his notes by declaring that the outstanding notes are now only good for half of what they say. This is called devaluation. Since the farmer may find it difficult to admit that he had issued many more notes than he had chickens, he may try to save his reputation by lying, such as saying that a fierce chicken plague has wiped out half of his stock. That will probably not prevent him from becoming very unpopular. Public faith in his notes will be destroyed. He will either have to revert back to straight barter, or else he will need to acquire someone else's notes in order to continue trading in the market. As we can see, paper notes or money are rooted in actual commodities and are meant to be an expression that the creator of the notes has something valuable to trade. In contrast to notes or coins, which function somewhat differently, metals have always been considered valuable, and so pieces of metal were convenient trading tools. Many pieces were imprinted with various designs, thereby becoming coins, and their metallic purity was guaranteed by the imprinter. Coin values were initially determined by the quantity and purity of the metal contained within the coins. Gold was a rare and popular metal, so coins made from gold were more expensive and had a higher barter value than, for instance, copper coins. Metal coins became a popular tool of barter because they were durable and quantities could be controlled. They did create some problems, however. Realistically, people were only trading pieces of metal for other goods. This created a disproportionate emphasis on metals. The acquisition of coins and coin metal became an obsession to a great many people, and such obsessions tend to drain away energy better spent producing other valuable goods and services. This system also gave a disproportionate amount of power to those who possessed large quantity of coined metals, even though some other commodities, such as food, and ultimately more valuable. The person with the coin metals could immediately acquire any good or service, but a farmer first had to go through the intermediate step of exchanging his product for a coin or coin metal before he could have the same spending flexibility. So this is a very interesting chapter, and he's kind of, sort of dumbing down the whole monetary system thing for you there. I sort of like that. It sort of puts it in common sense terms for people to understand how this occurred and just how far back this goes and how far this is going on and how the illusion that we participate in is what keeps us enslaved. So if we can ever finally see through this illusion, then it can no longer have power on us if we don't believe that it's real. But what keeps that going now, what perpetuates that now is, it's just everything, everything from new gadgets that come out, new toys, wanting to keep up with the Joneses, it's just programming, Madison Avenue, Edward Bernays stuff. So we'll stop right there for tonight, and we'll pick back up there tomorrow night on the broadcast. Glad you all could be with us here tonight. I wanted to do a show. I know we really didn't start or end much later, I guess, than we normally do tonight, but it just seemed like we did, because a lot of people didn't think there was going to be a show tonight because we had issues with the monitor and the network and stuff. But thanks to everybody who helped out and helped us get this fixed and whatnot. Please use the donate button. We're only about $600 away from having the Cigarette Volume 2 out, and I can have that out by the 5th, and we just get another $600 in here on the donate button, folks. We can get this done. So please support us if you can. Use the chip-in banner there, and also donate, man. And I'm fired up. I'm ready to push this forward and continue on into the next level of information that we're going to be going into. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you, and we'll see you next time. You guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Take care.